Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Active Reload, episode 72. Got a good episode for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Got a good episode for you today.
72?
PlayStation, guess what? They turned 30. They're officially old now, as some people look at it in their eyes. No offense.
Man.
Sorry, Grant. They turned 30. We're going to talk about what is our earliest memory of PlayStation, fondest memories, favorite PlayStation console, the works, highs and lows of the company, you know, ups and downs. Let's talk some video games. PlayStation, they're 30. That's officially old, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to break it to you. 30, the new 60.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding. 30's great, and especially for PlayStation. Sony, that's a long time to be around for PlayStation. 30 years. So we're gonna go down the old memory lane, if you will. They pandered towards their audience a little bit with a nice little trailer saying a big old thank you.
That trailer was amazing.
I mean, I
must say
it looked like
the Cranberry song "Dreams." The remake.
Is it really Cranberry? Is that their name?
Yeah, the Cranberries.
Man, band names. I don't know any of them. Dan Fogerty, though, sucking on chili dogs.
Yeah, you know that song for some weird reason.
It's stuck in my head. I don't know what to tell you. He's sucking on chili dogs.
I thought that trailer was, or whatever, thankful.
Yeah, video, I guess. Yeah, it's not a trailer.
It just showed a montage of old and new PlayStation games, mostly characters.
Did they show anything new? I don't think they did. I couldn't tell.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Except for the very end of this trailer. Well, I guess we can talk about the trailer before we talk about PlayStation.
Let's talk about the trailer. It's like 2 minutes long, I think, or something like that.
It's not a trailer, but the video.
Yeah. Video.
They showed
celebratory video.
Bloodborne at the very end.
Yeah. And they said, we admire your persistence. And then they showed Bloodborne, which is funny.
They said, we admire a bunch of words throughout the video that corresponded with the games.
Bloodborne only showed up once.
I know.
And it was persistence.
But
which is
paused
so
it.
funny.
I paused it and I tried to see if it was some sort of a remaster. Now, it is telling that they put that at the very end of the video.
Underneath persistence.
So when the game is, you need persistence in order to beat the game. I get it.
You need that for all the other From Software games too.
Yes. You're right.
So they could have done a Demon's Souls remaster video or part on that song, but they chose Bloodborne.
So I looked at the screenshot of it. I just tried to pause it. It's hard to tell because there's movement. It's about a half a second long, second at the most.
It's almost nothing.
And so there's a little blur with it, but I did notice some shadows. And I know that the PlayStation 4 version of Bloodborne runs at 30 frames and the shadows are wonky.
Are we doing a Paranormal Activity podcast? Is that what's happening right now? You're noticing shadows in a 1 second
and
clip?
So the shadows looked a little bit higher resolution. And that game is a 720p, I'm pretty sure, game. And it is maybe it's not 720p, but it's fluctuated 1080p. I'm pretty positive. And it looked pretty crisp. So if I was to bet, I'm going to assume that this is a very quick clip of a remastered Bloodborne.
That you're going to bet that?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, this is why you're not a gambling man. You know what they did? They just took a clip from one of the gameplay of an older trailer that they had of Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And then they just up-resed it.
Yeah, right.
And they were like, all right, there you go. Persistence.
This guy said that about me when Georgia Tech played Miami.
Okay,
he said, this is why you're not a betting man. Why would you bet against Miami?
Now we're talking video games here, okay? Sony's not doing this unless the way that they would do it, you buy FromSoft, first quarter you announce it, bingo, bongo, bango, guess what? Bloodborne remaster. Ride your winnings and money to the moon.
That would be really funny if they've had this remaster in their pocket for a couple years.
I don't think they have. I think they've been wanting to buy FromSoft, and this will be the thing that they announce their acquisition of FromSoft. This is like the big celebratory thing.
Okay.
But I don't think they've done that yet.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, speaking of PlayStation.
I've heard of them.
I have some questions for you.
Okay, go ahead. I'm thinking.
What is your earliest memory of PlayStation? The brand, not Sony, not a Walkman. You're not that old.
Not that old, no. I haven't hit 30 yet, so no. My earliest memory of PlayStation would probably be Spyro.
Yeah, really?
Spyro.
Cool.
I played I think it's the original Spyro.
You must like my thumbnail I put in last week.
I love Spyro. Period. I love Spyro. That's one of my favorite. And honestly, they need to bring Spyro back. Okay,
they did.
But it wasn't good enough. Yeah, and they need to bring Spyro back officially.
Speaking
of a remaster.
What
that needs to happen? Spyro. Why not?
That's what I'm talking about. You didn't buy it. There was a remaster. They remastered all 3 of them, the 3 PlayStation 1 games that came out. And they're fantastic.
Really?
Yes.
I gotta play Spyro.
Dude,
no,
you should play it.
The original one I play. I don't remember if it's the original one. It's the one where you have to find, like, you're with your little Spyro tribe, and you have to find all the eggs and all the jewels.
Sounds like the first one.
Okay, so I almost beat that game when I was a kid, but I missed one jewel, and I could not find it for the rest of the time, and I never beat the
good old collectathon Spyro.
Yeah, awful. But I loved it. That game is a lot of fun.
That game is a lot of fun
and everything. Amazing.
Spyro slaps. Shout out.
Yes. To what? Shout out to Spyro slaps or just Spyro?
My friend from my last job, she used to say that, and it was funny.
We're giving shout outs to people that don't know me.
Yeah.
Okay. Shout out Spyro.
But it's a good remaster. You should try it.
Okay. It's all 3 of them? I got to play the other ones too, then. Sequel and the third one.
Yeah.
Did they remaster the Jack games? Because those are also the ones
Yeah, they did.
Remember.
They were very, very poorly remastered.
Yeah, I remember Jack. I never played the first or the second one because I was
Jack and
younger.
Daxter, the precursor Destiny, and then there's Jack 2 and then Jack X.
I played... Oh, no, I thought it was just Jack 3.
Jack 3, maybe.
I played the third one.
Maybe Jack... I think there might have been
I thought the...
Mario Kart racer, I think.
I always thought the star in the sky that was impending doom was very cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
That was Jack 3. I liked that game. A little bit of Mad Max in that game, which is interesting.
It's funny if you go back and play Jack and Daxter, the first one, Jack doesn't talk.
Oh, really? Yeah. He was a wordless companion or wordless whatever, main character, protagonist.
Yeah.
Huh. I gotta play Jack again too. Is that did get remastered? I already asked you that.
Yeah, it did. It did in the PS3 era. It was a very bad remaster.
Okay, great. Shout out PlayStation. Happy 30th birthday.
I think you could play on PS4. Yeah. My earliest
memory.
What
about PS5 though? Can I play on PS5? Hopefully,
no, probably not. And that is going to be the overarching theme of this whole 30 years. By the way,
that's actually a good point.
They want us to remember their games and their characters, but they don't want us to play them.
Yeah, you have to have all the consoles.
They showed Killzone 2, and I love Killzone 2, but you can't play that unless you have a PS3 or, well, as a matter of fact, they used to be able to stream it on PlayStation Now. You can't do it anymore. They've removed them. So
the fact that they have all these original titles that you can't play with the newest version of your console, like
it's really annoying.
Not even like a up-res for just any version of those games is insane. In the year 2024.
What's that Xbox game where it's a party game and there's like roll cages in it?
Black.
Nope.
No.
Just say Black. Black works perfectly. Imagine
Fusion Frenzy is the one you're talking about.
Fusion Frenzy. Okay. Yeah. Imagine if Xbox said, "Hey, this is 22 years or something."
Yeah.
Here's Fusion Frenzy, but you couldn't play it.
Yeah. Hey, you remember Fusion Frenzy?
It would go against what Xbox has tried to do over the last few years.
Hey, you remember Halo? Buy the original Xbox to play it. That doesn't make any sense. Who would do that?
Anyways, my earliest memory.
Yeah, what's yours? The launch day of PlayStation.
Around Thanksgiving, went to a cousin's house, and they had a PlayStation, and it must have been 1996. It was back when it wasn't the jewel cases.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was the long boxes, what they used to call. And there was Twisted Metal in there.
That's a good game.
We played Twisted Metal, and I loved it. That
might be one of my earlier memories too, actually.
And that was the first time I actually even heard of or seen PlayStation outside of a magazine, I believe.
Okay.
But my earliest memory, really, of a real PlayStation that I had was me and my friend Tyler. We saved our money, our lunch money. He saved far more. But we $2 a day for, I don't know, almost a year to make it $350.
Nice.
To buy a PlayStation, and we bought Gran Turismo 1
for $350
with the PlayStation 1.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, somebody scammed you, dude.
And we played Gran Turismo, and I thought it was this is like it blew my mind.
What price was the PlayStation 1? Was it like $250?
It must have been $300, around $300, $350
gotcha.
Or $300. I don't know.
$300 probably.
Yeah.
$2 a day. Man, for a full year, you guys weren't eating lunch then.
No, we would scrounge.
You were dying at the afternoon time for classes.
Yeah.
That's awful.
My friend was really popular. He had like a lot of girls that just gave him pizza and stuff, probably.
Dude, what a time to be what a time to be alive. Getting pizza from women. I can't relate. What I was going Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'll say Twisted Metal was like one of the first quote-unquote violent games that I ever played, like non-cartoony violent games that I ever played. I remember feeling like, because I was like 8.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of little characters running around, 2D characters.
And I was like, I feel kind of guilty playing this game, dude. I'm killing all these people in these cars.
Yeah.
And I have a similar story, actually, with the PlayStation 3. That it had been out for a little bit, but I bought my first console personally.
Yeah.
I was probably like 13, 14 maybe. And there was this giant snowstorm in Oklahoma, because I was living in Oklahoma at the time. I only lived there for 1 year, but there was this giant snowstorm. And for those of you that don't know, if you live in the South, quote unquote, these places
don't get snow.
They don't have snow trucks.
Oh yeah,
it's like snow plows.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, or these people haven't like really ever shoveled snow walks or like walks before.
Yeah, I got you.
So your boy James from Wyoming was like, "Yo, I will shovel your walk for you if you pay me $20 or whatever."
$20.
$20. It was probably more than that, because they were like actually like big driveways in the
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I was thinking way too much, but you're 13.
Nah, it was probably more than that.
It was only about 5 years ago.
Well, that's the thing too, is I had 2 weeks because school was out for 2 weeks. We had a 2-week snow day because of how bad it was. So I made all the money in 2 weeks and went and got a PS3 for the first time.
You remember how much a PS3 cost?
It was. I think it was later, because it was like a pre-owned. I think because it wasn't like immediately.
It was $600 back then.
No. It wasn't that version of it. But you know what the first game I played on it was? The first game I bought, Battlefield 1942.
Really?
Battlefield
1942.
Battlefield 1943.
So it was the DLC. It was like the smaller game.
Version.
It's still fun though.
Yeah, the game's great.
Yeah.
It's dead now, but I remember playing that a lot on.
Dude,
my
it died this year. They turned off the server this year. I played it right before it went off.
It's the first game I ever bought with my own money that I earned, plus on my own console that I had bought with my own money. So that's one of my earlier, earlier, but one of my funner memories I have of earning that sort of thing with the console.
So you would consider that one of your fondest memories?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It was great, because like I said, it was a 2-week, like a full-on 2-week snow day. So there's snow all over the ground. It wasn't melting. Nobody could drive anywhere because there were no snow plows or anything, and nobody knows how to drive in that kind of snow in the South. And luckily, I was like, I can shovel the driveway. I don't care. I've done it thousands of times when I lived in Wyoming. And that's how I made my money, and then got a PlayStation. I remember the drive over to GameStop. I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. The best day I'll ever experience.
I think the fondest memory I have of PlayStation would be probably PS2, when my friend, the same friend Tyler, got it. And he got a few games, but we played NBA Live, probably 2000, 2001 maybe.
Yeah.
And we stayed up all night, and his dad came in, and we just went to town, and lots of food flying in the air, like excitement and stuff. We played Gran Turismo 3. That was also what he got. It blew my mind. It also, his PlayStation 2 bricked that night.
Oh, it
started to get this weird like parallaxing thing going on. We thought it was a TV, then we switched TVs, and it was like, oh, we got to take it back. And then,
oh man, that stinks.
Yeah, and we waited another week, and it happened. And then that room is probably my fondest PlayStation memory, in my friend's room, playing Silent Hill.
Yeah,
and Silent Hill 2.
Man,
stuff like that.
The other thing is too, with those older PlayStation models and older console models in general, today, apart from like the Switch, but even the Switch, you're not going to get a lot of those localized memories anymore. It's a lot of me and my friend over party chat or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that coming over and playing games like with one another doesn't kind of exist
I will
anymore.
tell you, it feels a lot different coming from someone who's experienced both.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
It feels a lot different.
I've met like a couple of my dearest friends over Xbox party chat, and my brother lives with people that we met on playing Rainbow Six Siege on Xbox. So like I don't regret any of it, but it is interesting. Like the entire mindset has just changed on how we experience that sort of stuff. So, and PlayStation's been through it from the beginning, essentially.
Also, I mean, it was that era of PS2 was the time where it became more cinematic. It was when PlayStation really started to jump into this is for like a cinematic experience.
Yeah.
Where someone who's on the couch watching you play can have just as much fun, especially with Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, it's not just games anymore. Like you can look at it as a much stronger
Although
experience.
PlayStation, the brand, when it first came out, it was geared to market towards people who were a little bit grown out of the Nintendo, the Mario Brothers and stuff.
They were like, here's Ratchet and Clank, the more adult version of Mario.
But no, there was, and you know what? I have to mention this for my fondest memory. Metal Gear Solid 1. Yeah. I played that in like a weekend. I loved every second of it. And that was the very first game, because it was early when I had a PlayStation 1. I mean, it must have been around 98, right?
Mm-hmm. And you had Psycho Mantis reading your memory card.
Yeah, that blew my mind.
Like, what the hell's going on here?
He was like,
they're inside my PlayStation.
He said something about a game that I was playing. He's like, oh, I see that you like to play this game, Toomba, number 2,
Gran Turismo 3, huh?
Yeah.
Your most recent save.
It'd be Gran Turismo 2. But,
whatever.
And then it said, you save a lot, because I used to save and call Mei Ling a lot.
That is so cool. God, we haven't had anything like that.
How often are you going to call Mei Ling? I'm like, what do you mean? How do you know? How'd you know this?
Mei Ling. What's the next step for like if they were ever to do something like that ever again? Like the next step for that, I would love for them to really
call your cell phone.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that because you have that stuff in there?
Yeah, I know.
So they could be like, interesting. I found a number in here, and then it calls your phone number, and you answer, and it's Psycho Mantis. It was so cool, but people would hate it. But it'd be so cool.
Yeah, that's crossing the line a little bit.
Yeah, it gets a little bit more into the privacy.
There was also a part in that game where Meryl, the girl, the colonel's daughter that you have to go save, she tells you that, or someone tells you that her codec, which is the number you call her, is on the back of the box or the jewel case.
Oh yeah.
So if you didn't know that, you had to turn around and look at it. It was, I think it's 141.23, I think.
And it's the same for every single case.
Yeah, the actual Kojima, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, you know what? That was his prime. Now he's past it.
No, he's not past it. He's well into it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so that's probably my fondest memory.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's
highs
great.
And lows. You have not in your opinion. I'm talking about not in your experience, but in your opinion, what do you think Sony's PlayStation brand was at their lowest or at their highest?
Okay, so for me, personally, their highest was probably 8 years ago, 2016, when they were dropping insane trailers at that E3.
Yep.
And then they came out with the God of War, essentially reimagining.
Yeah.
That was in an unbelievable game.
The height of the PS4, basically.
Yeah. And then not long after, Ghost of Tsushima came out, which is one of my favorite games of all time. Like they were just putting out banger after banger after banger.
That's when that action adventure third person cinematic experience was not long in the tooth.
Yeah, and it felt unique with a lot of the stories that they were telling.
Yep.
And everything that they were bringing out in terms of gameplay mechanics felt different and sort of unique. And it's just changing, like the reimagination of a very, very, very popular character in their history in Kratos could have gone so poorly, but they nailed it with the first entry. And the second one, like you said, it does get a little long in the tooth with the third person action adventure stuff. But Kratos, just like the evolution that he took from his character in the original trilogy from the PS3 to where he is now is such a very, very cool arc, especially if you played they came out with the free DLC that was like the Trials or whatever.
Yeah.
It really does kind of put a bow on a lot of where he was from to where he is now and kind of accepting who he is. And I think that they've done such a masterful job of creating that character into a newer aged version of who he is as a father, as a character, just in general. And just from 2016 on, but 2016 to like 2019, Horizon is another one for me anyways, where I was like, this game is amazing. I love the story that they're telling here. I think it's very cool. It was a big
turn for Guerrilla Games to do something that no one thought they could do. And they
very
just nailed
unique
it.
idea too.
Heck yeah.
So it was just unfortunately released the same day as one of the greatest games of all time, and Breath of the Wild came out. So I just think that
and their sequel came out with Elden Ring too.
Yeah, so
another open world game they had to compete with.
A little bad luck is what I would call that. But I think that about 2016 to 2018, 2019 they just could not miss.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing.
Well, so I would say the high.
Yeah, what was your high?
I agree. I think I think most people would agree with that era. But I'm gonna say the PlayStation 2 era, when they were dominating in sales, everybody had a PlayStation 2. It's still their most sold console ever. I think it's like 178 million, I think.
That's half of the United States.
Yeah.
put in perspective. That's crazy.
And it came out also with the DVD player. DVDs were new. So
true. Yeah, that was big. That was a big deal back then.
That strategy did not help.
Which
with
is
Blu-ray.
so funny. Yeah,
did not help. So I think that would be their high, especially
Grand Theft Auto 3.
Mm-hmm.
When that game came out, it came out for PlayStation. I think the Xbox was not released quite yet. I think it came out that year. I don't know if I remember
the 360
correctly.
or the original Xbox?
Original Xbox.
Okay.
I know I think San Andreas came out for the Xbox. I don't think the other ones did until later.
Yeah.
But that has got to be the high for me. Everybody was talking about it. It changed the entire landscape of video games forever. It changes Sony's idea of telling stories, open world design. I mean, everything. And it was only played on the PlayStation 2. A whole bunch of stuff. That would be my high. And everybody had one. Even though it was less powerful than the GameCube, less powerful than the Xbox, they still had the better games.
Yeah, I think that, I think also what you mentioned earlier about like the idea that PlayStation was offering more adult version like leaning more towards mature version of video games, because during like the Nintendo like GameCube and everything, it was very much cartoonized, cartoonized video games. Mario, Smash Brothers, all that stuff. Those are Melee games. Smash Bros is a Melee game, but it's still cartoonized or cartoonized. Am I saying that right?
I don't know.
Cartoonized? Whatever. Version of like a fighting game. And then they come out with like Tekken on the PlayStation and they're like, oh my, this is for cool preteens and teenagers.
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, the era that I'm talking about was when Sony was trying to lean towards realism in terms of their graphics. I mean, especially with Shadow of the Colossus, man, that thing blew my brains out.
Blew your little socks off.
Holy jeez.
And then it also Final Fantasy. That was like prime Final Fantasy time.
Yeah, Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Yeah, people loved it. I loved it.
When was 7? When was the original
1997.
7? Okay, so that was before.
That was PS1, yeah.
PS1. Okay,
on 3 discs.
Sorry. So that's probably prime.
Final Fantasy X probably sold more. I think the highest selling game at that point was Gran Turismo, like Gran Turismo 3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's probably their highest. And now their lowest, I'm going to just go.
Yeah, you go. I got to think.
I know for fact. Well, geez. I mean, I have to say right now, I think it might be right now, but it's just not over yet. So they could bounce back in 2025, and I wouldn't consider it's low. So I'm going to go with the first half of the PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 sucked.
You took mine. Dang it.
I know, but PS3 sucked in the beginning. Not only was it way too expensive. It was $600.
Way too expensive.
It came out a year after the 360.
And the 360 was...
And the 360 was very good.
They lost basically all the momentum that they had.
What happened in that console generation is the momentum shifted from one half to the other. The second half of that console generation, the Xbox 360 started to get red ring of death.
Yeah.
And I mean, mine did. And then Sony started to change up their strategy with single player games and stuff. But in the beginning, it was really low. Coming off the high of PS2, they went their highest, which was, in my opinion, their highest. They went right to their lowest.
Yeah.
It came out a year later. It was $600. The multi-platform games sucked on PS3.
Yeah.
I mean, go play Fear now and play it on 360 and then play it on PS3. It sucks. There's a bunch of games that were broken, glitchy. Skyrim was the biggest one. Skyrim, one of the biggest hits ever. If you had it on your PlayStation 3, if you played it for longer than, 15 hours, it could just ran at like 2 frames a second. It had a memory problem. There was something to do with the cell technology when it came to allocating resources from one end to the other end when it comes to textures, AI, and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't really understand. I'm just repeating what people have said.
Well, they wouldn't have had the AI for it back then. It would have been...
AI was great back then. I'm talking about in terms of
in-game
power. Like... the power that the PlayStation had.
Right. Okay. I thought you meant like artificial intelligence now.
No.
I was like, they weren't messing with that.
No. I mean, at least not in the consumer world.
Yeah.
But, that's got to be their low. Shoot, man. I have a couple memories where I would go to a friend's house. I already had a 360. I'd go to a friend's house, right? And we were about to play the same game. I don't remember which game it was. I'm just going to say Call of Duty 4 or something. No, I know exactly what it was. It was Gran Turismo 5. And he had bought it about 6 months after it came out. And he was so excited because he saved forever. We were in college. And he popped it in and it had an update. Do you remember the PlayStation updates when
Yes.
you had to do the games? You had to download every update
It's awful.
that they've ever had. So if there was 7 updates before,
You have to download them all.
you have to
over.
download update 1 and then install update 2 and then install all the way to number 7. Meanwhile, then 360, you put it in, it would update in 2 seconds.
It's the worst.
Sometimes it would be long and take 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation 3, I mean, it took, especially my friend's house, he didn't have the greatest internet. It would take all day.
Yeah.
Just to play. We would rent Gran Turismo 5.
Oh, renting.
And we'd be able to play it the next day if we were lucky.
Yeah. Mine,
terrible.
Mine was also that era of PlayStation, that early PlayStation 3 era, which is funny because I bought a PlayStation 3
Yeah, I know.
like right after it came out, and I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. But looking back on it, like you said, $600 at launch. It's a year after Xbox 360 came out. Not great. Not to mention, when 360 first came out, and then after, the social integration that they had for a lot of their stuff was very, very good. So like they had their private chats, their party chats, and everything like that. That was ahead of what PlayStation was doing.
Yeah, PlayStation, they didn't have party chats.
No.
They had free online.
That was the big selling point, I think, for a lot of people.
But it didn't work
online.
that well.
That's the thing.
They had the big outage that was...
Yes.
What?
That was... so
6 weeks? 7 weeks?
So the big outage...
That's when I bought
shout
a
out
PlayStation
Lizard
3.
Squad.
No.
The big outage...
F you.
The big outage that happened caused me to switch to 360. That is why I got rid of my PlayStation 3 as my primary console and switched over to an Xbox 360. And I basically have not gone back since. But with that, I think early in the days of those PlayStation, the free online, which was very convenient, obviously, but very open to being messed with by Lizard Gang, Lizard Squad, and other hackers and whatnot. And then also just the social integration. And not to mention also, I think the UI on the 360 was so much better as well. Just
it went through a few iterations.
Yeah, but even like the early ones, I thought
blades,
it looked a lot better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it did.
And I think the party stuff was a huge selling point for a lot of people that PlayStation did not have.
The online store.
Yeah.
The DLC that was offered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it worked so much better.
Yeah. And not to mention, too, 2007, when the 360 came out, that's like one of the best years in the history of video games.
I'm pretty sure it was 2006, though.
You had Halo 3 come out that year. Halo 3 came out that year, which was obviously monster for Xbox 360 and Microsoft.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing for multiplayer games. And the best place to play multiplayer games, even though Halo wouldn't have been able to PlayStation anyways, but the best place to play it was Xbox.
Yep.
And so,
it was almost its own little social network.
Yeah. Not to mention as well, Call of Duty, which Microsoft was kind of ahead of schedule with this.
Oh, yeah.
They got the early access to Call of Duty. So they had all the marketing with Call of Duty. So Black Ops would always say, or whatever it was, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is coming out blank. Play on Xbox 360.
Yeah. And
they would get the DLC like a month early before PlayStation, which, you know, for a lot of people doesn't think it's a big deal, but that's like the biggest game in the game franchise in the world. And at that time, it's like, okay, I'm going to play it on 360 because I get it a month early, the DLC a month early, and it's better online just in general.
They also had achievements, and then Sony did trophies later. And then when they first implemented trophies, it was kind of broken at first.
And trophies aren't nearly as cool. I'll be honest with you. Don't love them as much.
I think
achievements
trophies
are better.
I don't really care for any of them, but I don't know. I don't know what I think about that.
Some would call me an achievement hunter.
Yeah, not me. But yeah, so that's it. That's probably their lowest. I definitely
I'd agree.
You can say now, though. I mean, they lost $500 million.
They're approaching. Yeah.
On Concord, they've made some really bad, very, very bad decisions in the last 3 years.
They can really help themselves by buying FromSoft. I think that would
they can help themselves right
stuff.
now. Sony, you can help yourselves right now if you just pivot.
Whatever
you're doing, pivot. And just do what PlayStation does and not what someone else does.
So,
not what mobile games are doing, just do PlayStation, please.
It's funny because it feels like the momentum has kind of switched from the beginning of this generation, not this generation, the one PS4 generation for Xbox and PlayStation
to
where it is now, where PlayStation still does have a lot of leeway with where they are with what their single player games and everything. I think a lot of people still respect
good developers, but they're being hamstrung right now.
Yeah, they're also making very weird, not consumer friendly choices when they're talking about products. Price increases on a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, they have not been consumer friendly.
No,
in the last
it's weird.
8
They've
years.
really flipped.
Oh yeah,
because and you look at Game Pass too for Xbox, where it's like that's the most consumer friendly thing grand scheme of things that you'll get from anything on a console.
When Xbox started doing backwards compatibility stuff, you can play your original Xbox games, they run at 4K, checkerboarded, whatever, and 60 frames. Not all of them, but a big library of them, the best ones.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the first party stuff.
Yeah. So, it's
weird. It's flipped.
So the future of Sony, I think it's
bright.
Yeah, it can only go up. I can't go down.
I mean, it can. If it's second place, it can get to first.
2024 was a bad year for Sony.
Yeah, I don't think it was great.
Even though I've played a lot of games on your PS5, I don't think the PS5 or the Series X, I don't think they're the greatest consoles ever.
That's what your PS5 is ugly as hell.
It is the ugliest thing.
Truly ugly.
Do you know why it's shaped like that? I just realized this a couple months ago.
No.
It's shaped like a V for Roman numeral 5.
If that's true, I'm invading Japan. Because that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It is shaped like a V.
That's the thing.
I noticed when I played Astrobot this year. I was like, oh, it's a 5.
I hope that's not real. If that's true, I'm pissed. Okay? That sounds like something that we would see in the early days of YouTube. Like, here's the Xbox 720, and it's just some stupid video, and it looks like an X.
Yeah, I know.
And it's so dumb.
Yeah, anyways.
Sony.
Whatever. Let's move on.
That's it. Wait, hold on. Wait. That's the thing. They still can recover. You buy FromSoft. You remake Bloodborne. You announce Elden Ring 2. You already gained so much fandom back from that. So much excitement from that. Yeah, you get the last of the God of Wars back out there.
And make a first-person shooter, for God's sake. You have all these great titles. SOCOM, Killzone, Resistance. Think of another one. I can't think of another one. First-person shooter.
Gran Turismo.
No, in terms
FPS.
In terms of shooters,
Whoa.
You're right.
I have an idea.
Siphon Filter. Make a Siphon Filter a first-person shooter. I wouldn't mind.
Release maybe one other trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2 and show that it really does exist.
No. Lost that boat for people who didn't buy the remaster.
I have an idea. An idea that will really help people a lot. Just have Naughty Dog do anything.
Let them do what they want to do.
Literally anything. Instead of remasters.
You know how they give Kojima a blank check?
Give Naughty Dog a blank check.
Give Naughty Dog a blank check,
please. Whatever the hell they want. Stop canceling cool games that should have existed, like the one from the lady from Naughty Dog that was a Star Wars game that I can't think of the name of. I don't know why that was canceled. Would have loved that.
It was like Project something. I don't know.
She wrote the Uncharted game.
I know, she's great.
I apologize, I can't remember her name, but Sorry. That's what I mean. Like
Kathy.
Catherine.
No, I don't know. Can't remember. Sorry.
But just have Naughty Dog, literally Naughty Dog, do anything other than remasters. That'd be great.
And also, you know what? Have different people do your movies and TV shows. I don't want.
Oh, that's facts.
Or if the head of Naughty Dog, whatever his name is,
Neil Druckmann.
If he wants to go off and do it, just please don't link a Last of Us movie or show with the next game. I don't know. I don't even want a Last of Us.
You can make a good
Maybe put Last of Us away for a good decade.
No, they're not going to do that. Come on.
Just go on and do something else.
No, you know what, Neil? Make blank check. Do whatever you want.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Also, Sony, we're making 3 Venom movies. That's the play here. We're making 3 Venom movies.
That's not a PlayStation brand.
I understand, but still.
But that's another gripe I have. The Marvel attachment. You have Sucker Punch, I think, is one of the best developers in the gaming world. And not only that, but they, like FromSoft, can put out high quality products very quickly. And if you're stuck with Marvel, I'm tired of playing. I'm not going to play a Punisher, or I'm not going to play a Venom. What's the next one?
I think
Wolverine.
I think
I'm not going to play another Spider-Man.
We're gonna be singing a different tune when Wolverine comes out. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you have Sucker Punch, who are awesome, and you have them dealing with Disney, and Disney runs the roost with that crap, and I don't like that direction.
I mean, but okay, here's
I
the
don't
thing.
want to see Punisher being nice.
They changed a little bit. They changed a little bit because they were like, all right, we'll do Deadpool Wolverine. We'll make it very visceral. We'll make it very gory.
Yeah, whatever.
So maybe they changed their tune a little bit. You come out with a Wolverine game, you're splitting people in half, and Disney's like, yeah, we're cool with that. Do it. Sucker Punch, you're in. I don't
Disney
care.
can do that. I don't.
I don't think is it Sucker Punch? Is that right?
Did I say Insomniac?
Insomniac. Yes.
Is it Insomniac or Sucker Punch?
It's Insomniac. It's not Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is isn't that Ghost of Tsushima?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Sucker Punch. You're still really good.
Yeah. Ghost of Yote.
Insomniac is whoever makes the Spider-Man games are the ones that can push out games really quickly.
Yeah. And we lost DLC because somebody decided to leak the timeline, so we didn't get no Spider-Man 2 DLC. Thanks for that.
That's the problem with leaks. It's not announced, so it was probably going to happen regardless. All right, that's what we want from Sony. Sony, happy birthday, 30.
Stop making Venom.
30 years old, man.
PlayStation, yeah. Be great.
You're old enough to be nostalgic and tell kids that they don't know anything because there was no automatic saves back then.
And we admire your perseverance.
You had memory cards.
And then Psycho Mantis would read it.
Yeah. Cool.